I think we can try doing the hands if you want to try doing that. I'm going to take the slide off here. So it's just us.
It's probably safe to unmute now. And then
Yeah.
just raise your hand if you have questions.
Looks like Linda has one.
Yeah, I submitted a book about a young guy in the World War II called Saving Lou. It was a historical novel 2 to 3 years ago, and I never got any feedback. All I know is that it didn't win when I read the list of winners.
That's why we've changed the system to enforce the idea that if you sign up to review a book, you need to give that author feedback. If I didn't read the book, I can't, I can't tell you. But you saw that 2019 review, and in 2020, we started saying, you really need to write these. And I believe it was 2021 where we fixed the form so that you can't go forward without a comment in there. And that's why you wouldn't have gotten them in years past.
I think what Linda's referring to, if you if you submitted a book and didn't win, you basically didn't hear from us, and so it was up to you. We did send emails out, and we suggested that you could get your reviewers' comments, but you had to ask for them, and that a lot of times that message was garbled or not ever received. So in your case, if you never got any feedback from us, that's probably what happened. And I go back to the point where it was very difficult before, because we had to go back through spreadsheets and find 3 separate reviewers' comments and everything, remove scores, and get them to the author. So, for example, Linda, if you want, go ahead and email us to remind us, and I can go back through and try to find the comments for your book. Do you remember what season it was submitted?
I'll write it down.
The year after Nancy won her first silver medal, Nancy Panko.
That would have been 2018.
Okay.
I won mine in 2017.
Okay, we can look at that. And
Title, Linda?
Saving Lou.
Okay. We'll see if there's anything in there.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And that's another thing, by the way. One of the things that was kind of surprising, it just philosophically before, we didn't automatically share the reviewers' information. And part of it was we didn't want to divulge our system of how we were doing the awards thing. But once we decided to go with the comments that reviewers knew were going to be shared and that would be appropriate as feedback for the author, and that they would have a mechanism to say, this is the worst book I've ever read. This author slept through every high school English class. Those kinds of comments. Now the reviewers have the ammunition and the weaponry to do that, but they can also share with the authors. And so now we share all the comments and don't ask the authors. They're going to get it, and if they want to immediately delete the message they get from us, they can. It's surprising to me, and I think we would all agree as authors, that if you don't want to hear any critiques of your work, you're not a serious author, because all of us want to improve our work. And it's not like MWSA reviewers are God's gift to the reviewing of literature, but we are helpful. And in a lot of ways, we're the perfect demographic for the readership of a lot of our authors. So.
And also in those early years, before we kept harping on try to be nice, sometimes reviewers were brutal in their comments. So we even had caveats in the email that we sent out when someone requested them. Oh, just realize these are unvarnished. And I will say this, when I see there are misspellings in those, I do fix them before I send them out.
Nancy?
Yeah, I have a question about the technical review. I think, I guess I'm concerned that you touched on this, that there's kind of a disparity between the experience of one reviewer over another in the technical aspects. But is there a standard that and guidance for what we should be looking for in the technical review?
when you read the questions that are in the 5 questions, right, John? 5 questions in the technical section. The first question will be about spelling, and it'll
Okay.
say there were less than 3 misspellings in 200 pages. Or then the next selection is there were 4 to 8, and then it goes 9 to 12. So each one of those differentiations is going to lower that text score. And that's why, 0 to 3 might be a high bar, but I've read a lot of good books with no mistakes. And so when we say per 200 pages, it's kind of on you to say, oh, wait, this is a 400-page book. I get twice as many.
Hmm.
So you kind of have to do the fuzzy math while you're counting. I always take notes when I am assessing a book, because I know I'm going to have to come back and put comments in.
Mhm.
So I take notes as I'm going through it. If it's a hard copy that I got, I usually write on the last page and note, page 154 spelling. But I actually prefer Kindles because you can highlight and write a note right then and there as you're reading.
Okay.
Another
But anyway,
thing
the
that-
second question is about syntax. The third question is something else. And the 5th question is about punctuation. And again, that's one that you could count, 0 to 5, whatever.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
also we find that the more I do this, the more I'm kind of surprised at even our professional editors can disagree about what I thought was more cut and dried. I mean, a typo is a typo. Wrong word is a wrong word. But sometimes commas can be argued about, and that's where, as well as a lot of other grammatical issues, that's where our reviewer conferences are so important, because that's where you get to listen to 2 other reviewers and find out that, you know what, yeah, I think I could easily ignore some of those. I mean, again, some typos are worse than others. I talked about the Mariachi Trench. One there versus there versus there is noticeable, but maybe not so jarring. And perhaps, you can discuss whether or not you counted them appropriately or whatever. And our reviewer conferences, where we can really iron out any differences of opinion about whether or not we have the technical override, remember. So an otherwise perfect book that scores as high as possible in every area but technical, that's one of the issues, and that's where we can talk about it and decide, are we doing the right thing? And the polling, again, was what was reinforcing the fact that we're about where we need to be. We are not inappropriately killing or torpedoing a book from getting a medal because we're being too much sticklers on the technical scoring. That's what our reviewers are telling us via feedback. So, but when it comes to an individual book and your individual feelings as a reviewer, did I do this right? Am I being a little bit too either lenient or too much of a critique, giving too much of a critique? That's where our reviewer conferences come into play.
And it's funny you should mention the commas, because that's where I disagreed with my editor. And he said, no, this is how it should be. So I said, okay. So I'm concerned that if I'm looking at it, I need to know what I'm looking for. But that helps a lot.
You can actually at the top right, if you're looking at the same number of pictures as my wife and my red pen wielder, and we always disagree on commas. And in fact, if you look on our website under tips and tricks, you have to go back because I wrote it like 4 years ago now, but there's an article I wrote called Comma Wars. And it talks about some of the problems about disagreeing about things. And my technique was a comma equals a breath. And so if I'm reading a sentence and I start turning purple in the face, I probably need it. Well, now Betsy's the editor and she's going, no, John, that does not work. That is not a good rule. So Betsy keeps me honest, as my wife keeps me honest all the time too.
Thank you.
Well, and the thing, Sue is an editor. Let's see, I'm looking who else here. Sue Rushford's an editor. I'm an editor. And even if you use Chicago Manual of Style, I think they're up to the 17th version now, and things change, and especially with commas. Some commas are real important and some are not. For instance, they've recently said you don't have to separate TOO with a comma. But Sue, you wanted to weigh in. Go ahead.
Well, first, I just wanted to make one comment. When I read a book and it says that it's edited, oh, I thank my wife for editing it, my ears go up. But that's not what I was going to comment about. I was going to say I have a challenge on the website, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you how I solved it. So I find it frustrating to find something in particular. Like I want to find how to tell you that I got the book, or like all the different steps and all the different things. I don't know if it's the way my brain works or whatever, but I'm always finding it. How do I get to whatever? So I've bookmarked everything. I must have like 10 or 20 of them. So how to report that I got the book, and, you know, what were the rules again about, you know, the review or this or that. So that's how I solved it, is I just bookmarked everything. But I find it a little confusing, or not confusing, but time consuming to find the instructions that I'm looking for.
Well,
So what
two
we should
things.
do
One,
is
when you
have
get,
Sue- What we should do is have Sue send us an email with her information on how she found it, and we'll include that in our
Okay.
updates.
Okay.
yeah, well, I would point out that one way to kind of help you find it is that when you get, there's emails with links at the bottom of the email. So when you're given a book, it says, or I'm sorry, when we let the 3 reviewers know that we're telling the author to ship the book, that email that we send you does have the link exactly right to the part that you need. The other thing I would mention, because a lot of people may not know it's there, and without me sharing a screen, it might be hard to find it, but on our reviewers page, there's the blue navigation at the top, but then once you've signed into the reviewers page, there's another blue bar, and that has direct links to submitting a review. There's a lot of stuff in there that maybe would help you find it a little bit easier. And we'll try to see if we can't, you know, figure out some better ways to make that easier to find, because there is a lot of information on the website, you know, that.
But that email that John's talking about, that's the one I said, save the email. If you use Gmail, you put a star on it and it'll save it in your starred folder. I saved them all. And then when I finish the book, then I take the star away and throw it away.
Yeah, a lot of people don't notice that the email actually does tell you, have a link to go to the appropriate submenu where you're going to do the reviews too. So it automatically sends you to the area. It doesn't send you inside of the form where you're picking the different fictional subcategories or whatever, but it does get you at least in the general area. Was another, Ellen, I think you had a question?
Yeah, I think you already touched on it, the Kindle idea. I like to read on ebooks as opposed to solid books, but either one's fine. But so sometimes it's possible to have some of the books come in an ebook form.
Absolutely.
I have something that I wrote, and I'll go and find it and I'll send it out again, but it describes the fact of it being somewhat superior in that you can keep notes within it, and it tells you in my email, I tell you how to do that. But the other thing that's nice about using a Kindle, Ellen, is that when we ask the author, he sends it that day, we forward it that day, and so we're shortening, we're taking out 10 days of fluttering around with the USPS, who also loses books. And it's cheaper for the author. So I might send that around either as an attachment as we get ready for the season to start, making a note.
Great, that would be
With
great.
respect to getting the book that is in the format that you want, you next to your name, you will have your preference as far as the format. And so, for example, we have several reviewers who are paper only. We have several reviewers who are ebook only. So you can also put down that you prefer an ebook. And if there's a specific book that you're putting in your preference for, you can also put in the notes when you tell us that, I'll pick up this book, but this one, even though I normally will accept either one, I only want a Kindle in this one, and we can do that.
I see.
That makes our job a little bit more difficult, but we
But
can
sometimes
do it
we
that
can.
way as well. It's better just to have a standing preference where you say, you know, I'm Kindle only, or I'm, you know, paper only, or whatever. But if you have paper, I mean, Kindle only, then you won't even show up as a possible reviewer. You certainly won't have to read a book in paper if you don't want to. So it's completely up to you. But then again, if you see a book that you really want, you might want to leave your preference open so that, you know, you can get either one.
Well, it's not necessarily easier for you all to be either one, like, you know, preference of ebook, but if necessary, regular book.
What is the only thing that's slightly inconvenient for us is if you're saying, I normally have X preference, but for this book, I want you to send me paper only. That's the
well.
one where we have to go in and kind of finagle the system a little bit. But other than that, when you're standing preference, that's very easy for us. That kind of
Okay,
happens automatically.
Thanks.
Dan?
Just wondering your thoughts about length of the review. I read this year, I read other people's reviews, and I was impressed with, you know, the description of the story and the comments on this and that. And I received one paragraph and no description of the story. And so I felt a little bit shortchanged and thought, oh, wasn't worthy of a description, or somehow, you know, if readers, it's not going to entice readers because the story isn't there. So I was just wondering about your thoughts on length and content of the review. I know you've addressed it before, but, you know, in those reviews, which are very, very important, those words, for example, Nancy is so generous with her descriptions, you know, you can feel her empathy coming through. And I just wondered, you know, just wondering what your thoughts are about length and content.
A paragraph
I thought
is
200 words are good in 3 paragraphs, 200 to 250 words. Some people write 600 and some people write a measly 120. Sometimes when they're really, really badly short, we'll send them back and ask them to elaborate. You know, it just depends. But I am sorry, because I did see that yours was very short.
It was complimentary, but
Yes, as
just
befitting your medal. So,
and this
John, you want to say?
is one of the reasons why we want to have these periodic Zoom sessions, because this is where it's kind of tough. And especially, I'll tell you what, near the end of the season, Betsy and I are burnt out. We're like very busy. And so sometimes going back and trying to say, okay, could you maybe put a little more meat in this review? It's just, that's like 10 emails back and forth sometimes. So sometimes, I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes we get a little bit busy near the end of the season. Sometimes we look at it and scratch our head like, well, you know, what do we do? We have little notes sometimes where, you know, this reviewer tends to write either, you know, not very good reviews or short or whatever. And sometimes we try to finagle the system a little bit to make sure we get the right person in there. But with respect to reviews, Betsy's right. I mean, we have the page on our website that gives guidance. And so, you know, certainly read that for more of the details. But one paragraph is definitely not a standard NWSA review.
I was since Jeanette brought up Nancy and how Nancy Panko writes her reviews, since many of the people who are with us tonight were not able to be at the conference, I just wanted to let everybody know that for the first time ever, John and Betsy decided somebody did so much work this year that we want to start a new award called Reviewer of the Year. And we awarded that review to Nancy Panko, who read 18 books and did 11 reviews and was really thorough and kind with her comments. And we just loved that and when we ran out of nobody's signing up for this book, every once in a while I'd say, Nancy, and she would take it. So we just wanted to say, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. You're very welcome.
Are you recruiting to get more members do you need more reviewers?
Always need more reviewers.
I brought 3 with me tonight.
Yay, yay. Well, to those who haven't put your feet in the water, I can almost guarantee you. Of course, it's the luck of the draw, because sometimes if you happen to pick up 3 books and they're all like the ones I talked about, I had one where the guy misspelled Marine Corps. He got it right sometimes, but more often than not, he forgot to add the S on the end. So it was Marine Corps, like it was a company or something. And it's when you get a book like that, you say, you know, that one probably, you know, or the little squiggly lines underneath the word in your word processor, you probably should have paid attention to those before you entered the book. And if you get books like that, your experience with as an MWSA reviewer might not be all that good. But most of us, eventually you're going to get one of those real blockbusters, just great books that make you really happy that you're a reviewer, 1. And 2, I've been doing this now a long time, that it really sharpens your skills as a writer too. You'll learn, for example, I had never ever heard any discussion about copyright issues, and especially including, for example, songs and lyrics from songs or whatever. Did not realize how problematic that was. So I've learned a lot. I can guarantee you that with the amount of people, the faces you see on your screen tonight, there's a lot of people that have been doing this for a long time and really know what they're doing. So it's a really, hopefully you have a good experience. And thank you, Nancy, for recruiting for us. That's really great.
So have your recruitees write to us at that MWSA address and I'll send them more information. Nancy, you have the email for us, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
We love new people. Is this all the Fuquay Varina?
yes. Nancy Wakely, Linda Hamby, and Ellen Kennedy.
Yep, great.
Great. Well, welcome. Well, we're over our hour-long thing, so feel free, please. We'll stay here and answer questions and chat
Not
as
finished
long
my
as you want.
wine.
But if you do feel like you're a little bit embarrassed to leave now or whatever, don't worry about it. We promise not to go past an hour, and we're only 5 minutes over, so we're doing pretty good. So, Betsy, did you want to do any thank you stuff before we start totally taking questions? I mean, I'm not going anywhere, but.
No, that's fine. Whoever needs to leave, go and get your wine. Mine's empty.
Well, I think I'll go and get supper, but I'd like to thank all of you. I've learned a lot and I'm looking forward to it. And thank you all for what you do.
Hi, Bob. It was nice to meet you at the conference.
I enjoyed meeting you too, Nancy.
Yeah.
Great.
Keep
You're a
working.
good person. You take
Hi,
care.
Bob.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It was good also to meet you at the conference.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, you guys take care then, all right?
All right.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Yep, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
John, I have to echo what Betsy said about being a reviewer has made me a better writer. And now I jump to the #1 slot because it's become a challenge. I enjoy writing those reviews. And thank you, Jeanette. I'm sorry I didn't get your book.
Yeah.
It's okay, Nancy. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Well, remember now, this is a good point that we're on here. It's not part of our official MWSA reviewer deal, but we do have a page on our website that's a reviewer swap. So for example, if you want to try to talk Nancy into writing a review for her, you can send her a book. I mean, we set this up on our website to enable exactly this sort of thing. And I don't want to put Nancy on the spot, but I already have, so it's too late. But that's what,
Jeanette put her on the spot, and then I put her on the spot. Now you're putting her on the spot.
but there is the review swap on our website, and I think it's underutilized because it is, I agree, it's very challenging. I find sometimes a couple of pages is much harder to do than a couple of paragraphs, and to have it be impactful and everything. So I would agree.
Say, John, this is Bob.
Yeah.
I think my picture is not working, so you don't get to see my pretty face today, right? Am I just a black screen?
You
Yeah,
are.
but if you go to the bottom left and hit that video
I think I broke
thing.
my camera.
Yeah.
But my question is, or just follow up, You're talking about the reviewer swap, though. That's not part of your review program that y'all take care of and all. You're talking about just getting to get people to write reviews for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on,
Yeah.
it's under the resources section of our
Right,
website.
right, right,
And-
right. I just
That'd
want to
be
make sure
great.
everybody else understood. You can't go out and pick who's going to do the review for you in this review program that John and Betsy control here. You're talking about separate from that, yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But then is it posted on the website?
No,
No,
I thought
this
it
would
was.
just be an arrangement between two
Oh.
consenting MWSA members. And the website is just facilitates getting together. So, you would say, I have this book. If anyone's interested in writing a review, I'd be happy to send you a copy. That's all that is. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with our official review process.
And that person sends you a book and then you each write them. Each person writes a review.
Oh,
A swap.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's designed as a swap, but it could be one way. I mean, whatever you can negotiate.
Mhm.
And then if I were to do that and then post that review somewhere else, like Goodreads or Amazon, can I say it's an MWSA? Like, can I?
No, we don't,
Okay.
because that is not QC'd by our organization.
Yes,
It-
that's what I was
really your own.
Mhm.
Use
Okay.
your,
Question.
you can use your byline, and I think you could mention that you're an MWSA member, but in no way would you want to make it appear as though it was a sanctioned MWSA.
Okay.
So where is this section, John, under resources?
Yeah,
Resources and drop down.
yeah, it's like the fifth choice says review swap.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of stuff on there that people haven't found. I mean, remember, most of us are authors, that there's an author interview. And so you actually, what it is you write the questions and you answer them. So you're really interviewing yourself, and we publish it just after editing. So it's a good deal for us because it's a benefit to our members that doesn't require a lot of effort, but it ends up going not only on our website, but also goes on social media. So it's a really good deal. That's an MWSA benefit.
And then you can use it in your marketing efforts as well.
I did one 5 years ago. Does anybody update theirs or do another one? Because
we-
I'm not the same writer as I was then.
We can certainly, so now I will deny saying this, but I would be glad to write down, especially since I put you on the spot before. So now I put myself on the spot, and I'd be happy to do any editing. What I would do is just tell me what you'd like to change, or if you'd like to resubmit a completely new one, you can certainly do that. Bob Dorr is still on the line here. We have a helper now on the website who's been kind of taking those and putting them on. By the name of Alan Tiffany. And so once you submit there's a little form that you fill out and you put links to your updated photo or whatever, a book cover. And they're basically doing a copy and paste onto a page on the website. And then from the website, it gets blasted out to a bunch of different social media sites as well, prominently our Facebook page. So absolutely, you can do that. I think we say something like, every 5 years or something like that. So whatever it is, in your case, we'll make an exception.
Thank you.
Linda,
Just to update, my Saving Lou was sent to you in 2019.
Okay.
I looked up and I got an email from you saying that you received it, and that's the last thing I got.
yeah,
We'll
we're,
look that up for you and see if there are any comments there, okay?
I'd appreciate it.
Just-
We, by being potential reviewers, we still sign for membership at MWSA.
I didn't understand or didn't hear that.
I was a member, but I let it lapse. And if I'm a reviewer now, do I renew my membership?
You can
Oh.
be an associate member, which is a free membership. Now, as an associate, then you can't put a book in. But I encourage anyone who's we have volunteers who aren't members who do review for us, but I encourage them all to become the associate free members. That way you just get the occasional monthly blast and you find out what else the organization is doing. Linda, what's your last name?
At that time, it was Logel, Loegel.
Okay,
I
But
have
if
a
you-
book I want to submit this year, so I don't think
okay.
I should be a regular member then.
On the membership, on the website, if you send a letter to the membership secretary, Betsy Bear, will tell you how to go back and renew your membership.
No
Any
other
other
burning-
questions?
I just wanted to say what a wonderful organization. And is so supportive. I reached out to Bob because I was having trouble with my website, and he put me in touch with Kathleen Rogers and Val Ormond. And I was so honored that they took the time to respond and share their experiences. And just what a great group. It's just wonderful. And, you know, the conference, I'm new to it, but felt right at home. And so, you know, what you're doing is fantastic, and thank you. And
I
as a
second
result of
that.
that, I ordered from Amazon Valerie's book and also Kathleen's today. I don't know why I didn't buy them at the conference, but I didn't, so I ordered them today. So it's great how the give and take and the flow of support is wonderful. Thank you.
Those of us who've been doing this, I mean, I've been doing it since I think 2008 or something is when I first got involved. And it is like a lot of volunteer organizations, you can get out of it sometimes what you put in. And most of us are willing to help each other out. And that's what really works. And that's why we're so appreciative of all of you folks that are either have or contemplating helping out and reviewing with us. And there's any number of jobs that are available on MWSA. So helping out with websites would certainly be not something we normally do, but yeah, I mean, we've seen that too. Betsy, you've been doing this for how long?
2011, I guess. 11
You're
years.
about the same, right, Bob? I got Bob on mute there, so I'll get you to fumble.
No, I got it. I've been involved since 2010.
Okay.
And
That's
we
when I-
thank Bob for bringing Jeanette to us.
Oh, yeah, and that was 2010, Bob, when we met at the USAFA reunion.
Yes, or
Yeah.
2012.
Oh, okay, right. So wonderful, thank you. I feel like I found a home.
Well, good.
So if people found this helpful, we'd like to try to do a reviewer Zoom maybe every 3 months, which means sometime after the beginning of the season. You know, maybe we can do a Zoom and see how the season is shaping up and get together again. If you have suggestions for content, write to us and let us know.
How about one right before it starts?
That is a good idea too. That would be between January 1st and the 15th. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because then if you have any new people, or it can be a review for some, and it can just be a reinforcement that here's what we're gonna do.
Get everybody pumped up and ready for the season.
Yeah.
Rah,
Yeah, that would be a good time, I think, to do a screen share of the website to remind everybody what's there.
How to get there.
And like Sue was saying, it's difficult sometimes to find, you know, what you need to do and where it is. And so that little memory jogger would probably be very appropriate. The other, not only getting us ready for a season, the other thing that I think would be important is to have one of these and open it up to all the membership so that
Yeah.
people who haven't thought about reviewing may just join us and say, oh, this is interesting, and get that same feeling and find out from people that are doing this that this is not onerous. In fact, it's pretty fun. Not always fun, but mostly fun. And maybe we can use it as a recruiting tool too, not only for membership reviewers, but for membership in general.
And as you said, we're learning at the same time. You know, we're refining our craft as authors.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And maybe we can get Bob to get his camera on from the beginning next time.
He did, yeah. So,
We can see you now, Bob.
You know, it's
There
funny.
he is.
I'm
there
doing
you
all
are.
types, I was doing all types of technical stuff to try to solve the problem. Then I thought, well, what if I just rub my finger across the lens? I guess I had crumbs from my donuts this morning covering the lens. That's all it took, though. Quick brush of the finger across the camera.
okay. Is this a good time frame for everybody then on a Sunday night, Sunday evening? Seems
Yeah.
better than Saturday. 'cause
Yes.
it- Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned. We'll do it again in early January.
Well, I guess we do we have some folks that aren't reviewers yet. Should we share the password so that people can get onto the reviewer site with everybody that's here? We probably should, right?
Sure, but you also, yeah, you need to tell them where that is. Can you want
Yeah,
to?
if you go on the top, for those that aren't, I mean, those that have already reviewing, obviously have been to the reviewer page. But since everyone here either is a reviewer or is seriously contemplating it, if you took the time to participate in a Zoom, that's close enough of an indication that, that you're somewhat serious. When you go to our website, there's the blue navigation bar at the top, and then there's reviews and awards.
Share your
the words-
screen. John, share your screen and just show everybody.
I will attempt to do so.
For the visual learners among us. There you go.
Is everyone seeing the 2004
Yes.
season? It's funny
Yeah.
that season happened to start off with. So you go to review and awards, and the very bottom is reviewers. And again, that's one of the few places that are password protected. And right now, and anybody would like to guess what it's going to be starting in January, it will be remarkably similar with one change digit, which I won't tell for security reasons. Anyway, so this is the reviewers page, and this is that sub menu I was telling you, Sue, to get the sub menu there tells you books available to review, sign up to review. I got my book. So this would be, this blue bar here is the place where you can find those other places to go to. And what were we talking about? What was I supposed to show?
I don't
Oh, how to
remember.
log on.
Pardon?
You did the password and how to get onto the.
Oh, okay,
reviewer.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's now you know how to get there. And what I would do if you're new is just look around. Obviously, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Normally, right here, there's a spreadsheet. There'll be book covers that you can go to our website and see all the reviews. But obviously, there's no available reviews because we're in between seasons. But right here, just scrolling down the page, that's where you would start looking at the books, clicking on the book to get to our website, learning, you know, was it in the format you wanted? Was it a topic or a genre that you were interested in? And then you keep scrolling down, and it's the review book preference guide is right there. So that's where you tell us, you know, which books that you want. Yeah,
One
yes,
thing you
Linda?
didn't mention, John, is that if you have a book in the contest entered in a particular genre, you cannot review in that genre as a reviewer. It's a conflict of interest. So
And
if
we
I
actually
had,
had somebody do it once. He panned a book that was in the mystery thriller, and then he submitted his in the same category
Oh
about
my
3 months
gosh.
later. And what happens with that is then we have to kick his review completely out. And it was almost too late to go back and get a third reviewer for the book. So yes, thank you. for bringing
Or
it up.
teach him a lesson and not let him submit his book.
I like that too.
Is there a
Actually,
way
yeah,
for us
we
to
should've.
sign on as wanting to be reviewers?
Say again?
Is there a way for us to sign on the website to want to be reviewers?
John, show her on the website where you do that.
Oh, they've got your number now, Linda. Don't worry.
It,
Uh-oh.
It's somewhere. I become a reviewer. There it is. So we're under reviews and awards, and the next to the last choice is become a reviewer, and that just brings you. We give you a little information about what we expect, just very basic background, and then there's a little button that is a contact form that where you'll give us your name and email and that kind of thing, and
Okay.
and
then we
then we
get
will
back in
send
touch.
you more info.
Yeah, and then we send you a link so you can go through our training. The training for those who haven't done it yet, and it's actually the same for those who have been reviewers and who want to refresh your memory. It's, as we said in the military, it's death by slides. There's about 30 of them or so of the training slides. But when the first time, it'll take you a while to get through. The second time, when you're just trying to refresh your memory, it goes a lot faster because you know a lot of the stuff already. But it's a self-paced instructional kind of deal. And I just say that as you go through this, it's going to feel like impossible. You're going to say, I don't understand this. I think all of us, please nod your head, those that have reviewed books, that after you review your first book, it's like, oh, this isn't all that hard. So it's somewhat daunting when you read 30, 40 slides or whatever it is. You're saying, no, forget it. This is too difficult. Trust me, it's worth going through. So you go through the slides, you'll take a short test. I believe it's 10 questions. You can't fail the test. Although if you do poorly enough, we'll probably have a little email exchange with you or whatever to help you out to make sure you got everything. But it's really difficult to not do well on a test. And once you do that, I mean, you're a reviewer, and that's about all there is. We're always here, and we can do one-on-one Zoom sessions, phone calls if you need help. Normally, we can. Like I said, once you review that first book and you get it under your belt, it'll all kind of make sense.
I can help out all my Fuquay ladies. If you have questions, we are as close as the phone.
Oh,
We're across the
definitely.
street.
Oh, definitely. We've got your number.
I know you do.
Okay, any other questions? Dinner time somewhere?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
5 o'clock somewhere too.
There we go.
It's
So
informative.
basically, if you are new, make sure that you fill out the form, or at the very least, we are MWSA, and then another A for awards directors. So MWSA awards directors, plural, @gmail.com. That will also do it. The form makes it nice, but either way works. And you'll be signed up. You've already got the password to go in, so you can figure out, do some exploring on your own. But then thank you so much for reviewing and for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good to
Bye-bye.
see everybody.
Buenas
Bye-bye.
noches.
Bye.
4, 3, 2.
2, 1. Blast off.